Alright, cool. Moving slightly on page 295, where it mentions dining by traffic light, as just mentioned. So I'd explain it for the listeners that haven't been able to read the book or unaware of what the traffic light system is. So you have green light foods, which should be maximised, and green light foods are unprocessed plant foods. Then you have yellow light foods, which are minimised, and those are processed plant foods and unprocessed animal foods.
What's the definition of processed plant foods? Do we know? And what's unprocessed animal foods? So unprocessed animal foods be your kind of chicken breast.
Yeah, that's
and
like...
then, whereas processed would be your sausage with the mince and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we know what unprocessed plant foods are?
I'm trying to think of something.
An example.
Yeah.
That's alright. And what was the red light?
Red light foods to be avoided, well, this is Dr. Gregar's opinion, it should be avoided, is ultra processed plant-based foods or processed animal foods. So just to reiterate, green light foods should be maximised and they're unprocessed plant foods. Yellow light ones are minimised, which are processed plant foods or unprocessed animal foods. And red light foods to be avoided are ultra processed plant-based foods or processed animal foods.
Okay, so I might have got something wrong. What was the amber one? Because I asked you what unprocessed plant foods was. Did you say that? You said
you wanted to know what processed plant foods was.
Oh, sorry. Is that in the amber?
That is, yeah, the yellow light ones.
Okay, all right, no worries.
Just moving on slightly in regards to the same topic, but on 296, the healthiest diet is the one that maximises the intake of whole plant foods and minimises the intake of animal-based foods and processed junk. Do you believe this is fact or opinion? And what is your current take on the healthiest diet? Again, that's either to P or Mason.
Pox, you want to just...
So can you repeat that question again? I just want to digest that properly.
And this is a question for everyone listening onto the podcast, just to wake you up in case you're not alert. French.
So I'll read out the statement again, so it makes the question a bit more valid.
Yeah.
The healthiest diet is the one that maximises the intake of whole plant foods and minimises the intake of animal-based foods and processed junk.
Okay.
Do you believe this to be fact or opinion? And what is your current take on the healthiest diet?
Okay. I think... Sorry, go on.
And whole plant foods being your nuts.
Yeah.
Your I can never pronounce it. Cruciferous vegetables.
Cruciferous
vegetables. Your broccolis and your
fibres.
Your kales.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Do we believe this to be the healthy?
Do you believe this to be fact or an opinion? So whole plant foods.
Yeah. And
minimising the intake of animal based foods. Do you think that's the best diet, or what's your current take on having the healthiest diet?
Pox, you were going to start.
My answer is quite simple in that I do believe that is the healthiest diet in terms of having more greens.
So you believe it's fact?
Yeah, I do. I think it's fact. Yeah. I think
is it the most tasty?
I don't know if that's a question, but I mean...
No, I know, but it's a question spun from French's question.
Is it the most tasty?
Because I'm trying to get my head around alright, so let's play devil advocate. Everyone in the world has access to this book. They've read it.
Yeah.
Yet they continue to eat your pork loin, your chicken burger.
Can I answer that question? Can I answer that statement? Sorry. If you're comfortable with salmonella in your pork loin, then cool. I'm not comfortable with salmonella.
Alright, take salmonella away. You've cooked it, but
you can't take it away because it's in there. you can't take it away.
You cooked it beyond 65 degrees, whatever it is, for the certain period which kills all diseases. Now you're eating your big pork hot dog.
Alright.
So you tell me.
So tell me what?
You tell me the question I just asked you. The question, if everyone's got access to this book, they know that there's studies in there which are proving to say a whole plant-based food diet is healthier than what you're eating now with all those meats. Why would you continue to eat your chicken breast burger, your big hot dog, your frankfurter, what's them German things called?
Frankfurters.
They're the skinny ones, or are they big ones as well? They call them Brockwurst or something like that.
Yeah, the big ones must be Brock, and then small ones.
Right, you continue to eat that BS.
Yeah.
You tell me, why would you continue to do that? And it relates back to my question about, is it the tastiest?
Alright, cool. I'm glad you said that, because what I believe, I think everything is down to habit, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I mean, I don't want to say people that are a bit more well off, but I mean,
can say it if you want.
Yeah, I'll say people a bit more well off, right? So I don't know if you've looked at people's, dare I say, their packed lunches and stuff like that. So if you look at people who are a bit more well off, who've come from that type of background,
I don't go into school and
no, but I mean,
lunches.
No, but I mean, okay, right, cool. But if you're a bit more aware of some of the stuff that dare I say, some of your friends eat, some of them may actually tend to eat things that are a bit more healthy. So some of them might be a bit more into fruit, might be a bit more into nuts, might be a bit more into yogurts and all that type of stuff.
Is this something you've seen with your own eyes?
Yeah, but just in growing up and all that type of stuff. These are things that I think.
So you think it's a wealth thing? You don't think it's just what?
A bit of both, because wealth, education, thank you, because that's what I was going to go with. But at the same time, I think these things are all habits. So if you're eating these things from a young age, you're going to come into a habit where that is actually suited to your taste buds. Whereas I've been used to having, I've actually been used to having, well, I'm not going to say poor foods, but I mean I've had decent. What I'm looking for is a bit more. I'm looking for a bit more balance, if that makes any sense. Balance. Yeah. So I mean, in my household, red meats and stuff like that was, dare I say, the norm, prevalent. Chicken, all that type of stuff. Whereas these are things that I'm now trying to cut out of my diet. Whereas eating yogurt wasn't really a thing unless it was corn. Was it fruit corn?
Yeah,
I don't eat yogurt.
Yeah, so like I mean, unless it was that, and I'm not talking about with fruit. I'm talking about with the chocolate balls and all that type of stuff.
I lived that life.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's more stuff I can probably add to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm very aware in terms of Jack over there's eating fruit nuts. He's got fruit medley.
Yeah.
He's got carrots and cucumber in there.
Yeah.
Did you peel Jack?
No. That wasn't my lifestyle either. But I was very aware of what
for some nuts.
Yeah. But I was very aware.
But I've got £10. Give me your nuts. I want them cashews.
But I was very aware of what I was eating and maybe what he was eating, if that makes any sense. And I just believe it's a case of literally just get yourself into a routine. It's funny because we bumped into that dude in Tesco, whatever you probably won't.
I love Tesco's.
You got shares in something.
Anyway, go on.
It's my local. Anyway, it's my local. It's my local. Yeah. And the guy that was
When's your local as well?
It is my new local. Popped up the other day.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy on there was, I mean, we were having a laugh between us saying it's about step by step.
Yeah.
Again, it's a step by step process.
Yeah,
Once
very true.
you remove one thing and then gradually you get used to another, and then hopefully with a bit more time, you know what I mean?
Well, Laura said the same thing. She said it's a gradual process. She went from vegetarian to veganism, and for the last year, it's a gradual. You can't just cold turkey.
Yeah.
I think some people can. I know people that actually have. I wouldn't say like that, but it was a process. But their process was very quick.
It's funny because I know it goes on to let us talk about your psychology and not too far along down the line. So
you're spot on.
Do you want to answer it in regards to the actual question? Do you believe this to be fact or opinion? And what is your current take on the healthiest diet?
Even though I gave Poco a hard time, he was actually quite good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and definitely I can't say whether it's fact or opinion because I'm basing it. I haven't read any books that kind of support the vegan movement. I've only read this one, so if I'm going off this book, yes, it all plays glossy. But when we later on come to do a book review, I'll give my opinion on the book, the author, and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, touch wood, I haven't got any kind of disease or anything, and I've lived a life where I've eaten meat. I've eaten a range of foods. I'm not just stuck to plant based or non-meat or whatever. I eat a range of foods, and I'm still, I believe, relatively healthy. I don't know what my cholesterol levels are like, so I don't go into that much depth.
Yeah, you feel good.
Yeah, I feel okay. So at the moment, I can't say whether it's
fact or
fiction. What I would say is the evidence in this book is really, really good. It kind of supports the movement that the author's trying to make.
Yeah.
And it'll be, I mean, it does help to raise awareness, and it does definitely, when I'm going into like my local food store, which might not be Tesco's Pocker, or a takeaway or whatever, it will influence my decision on what I eat, and that is the truth.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say on the subject. Politician mode.
Sorry, just very, very quickly. Just kind of not summing up. That was a very good answer, very safe answer. In that I've worked in the sport industry for a long time, I've gradually felt a difference in the way my body works.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I've kind of made a decision, dare I say, on what type of foods I want to kind of like not ingest, that's a bit too strong, but I mean foods that I want foods that I actually want to consume.
Yeah.
In that I'm 32 years of age. dare I say, 3, 4...
You be careful how many stats you're giving up. You got a Wainsworth and Tesco's there, you're 32, people can start working out who you are.
I'm strong-minded. I even say, like, I mean, 3, 4, dare I say, I'll be 35 in 3 years, 40 in 7 years.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm trying, or 8 years. I'm trying to be. I want to be a bit more healthy. You know what I mean, it's not long down. It's not long down the road. It won't be long before your body starts playing up and starts breaking down. I want to make sure I'm in a position where that is not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. French, don't move on. Same question is aimed at you, pal. This guy, he's the worst out of all of us, guys.
I don't know what you're
to our podcast, followers. French, you would have noticed. French, yes, we like French to kind of dictate the kind of movement with the questions, but we still want him to give his opinions.
I think you guys kind of covered.
Oh no, Pocker, can we have a rule where either French answers the question first, or the one thing he's not allowed to say is, I think you guys kind of covered it. You said my answer was safe. That answer there is flipping 16-digit safe code locked. It's ridiculous.
Airtight, boy.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with airtight.
There's a vault around French.
He's playing with his iPad. He's trying to move on.
Do you know what though? I'm looking at the time and I think the next...
Don't worry about the time. We can break this down into 2, 3, 4 episodes. The next question is actually a good question. Okay. And it is resulting in actually something that we discussed with Laura. You're answering it first, by the way. So
let me
make it a good one.
Let me push on.
Juicy one.
As a result of these conflicts of interest, conclude in an analysis in the Food and Drug Law Journal, the guidelines sometimes favour the interests of the food and drug industries over the public's interest in accurate and impartial dietary advice. So do you think big food corporations will always have a monopoly on how we view and treat food?
Amazing question. French, I love your opinion. I can't
answer my own question.
Alright, give me that. I would love your opinion on that.
Go on, someone jump off and I'll jump in after.
No, I really would love your opinion on that.
So, P, do you want to answer the question first?
I'll
answer. You are not serious. Look, I'll answer after, trust me.
Are you sure?
Yes, I swear to you, man. Come on.
Alright, go.
Alright, cool. I'm sure I might...
Go on.
I'm sure I might have also a bit more to add to it, but I mean, my personal opinion, I think as long as we continue to feed off information people actually provide us and don't actually go and research information as to actually what's best for us, then I think we'll always be at the mercy of whether it's dietitians, those who are prescribing drugs, etc., etc.,
or your big chain
supermarkets, you know, and the Wenzels and all this.
Oh, this guy.
Sorry, go on.
And you can't even help yourself.
And Tesco's.
Yeah, he definitely got shares.
This guy is plugging.
Do I think that the big corporations will always have a monopoly? Well, to be frank, I think they do. But I would also like to say, I would like to think that the small companies and independent companies have a space in what we eat and how we eat. Because I've seen a lot more independent plant-based stores and plant-based restaurants and vegan restaurants popping up.
Name a few.
There's one 222 that I went to the other day in Fulham.
Plug.
There's another one, Simply Vegan. That's another one also in Fulham.
Plug.
So there are more about. I'm not gonna list the whole name of.
No, that's fine.
But I know you're trying to test me to see if you could pick me out of there. So
well, then you passed that one.
Obviously, obviously. But I really do this. Get me really on the roads, but I in general, yes, the big food corporations definitely have a monopoly. Yeah. It's a money game, it's a numbers game, man. And I think if people actually want to do the due diligence and actually investigate and actually look at what foods that they're eating and really see what's better for their health, then at some point the people at the top are going to have to change their ways in terms of what they're promoting and how they're promoting it, because it's us at the end of the day that dictate what actually happens. But if we stay ignorant to the knowledge in regards to what's going to be healthy and what's not going to be healthy, we're going to constantly just take what's getting pushed down our throats.
Good point, friend.
It's funny because I believe ignorance is the order of the day. So
why do you believe that?
I think people live with ignorance. People don't like to go doing no research. People like to turn a blind eye, all that type of stuff. Happens all day, every day.
Yeah, it's laziness.
The word I use is ignorance, but I mean, lazy is might be a bit more of an accurate word as to what I'm looking for. But I don't think ignorance is too far away. I think people would love to turn a blind eye. I mean, I know there was something in regards to, I think a guy saying that Coca-Cola was had health benefits to it, in that it had water and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But if you're buying it, I'm selling it.
Yeah. What about you, Mace?
I think you hit the nail on the head, French. I think, and do you know what? There's a couple of things. So, I've been to Thailand a couple of times, and I think you might have heard me say this before in our own private chats, but the first time I went to Thailand and the second time I went to Thailand was so different. It was only about a 4 or 5 year gap. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I bring up Thailand is because this is the most prevalent example I can give.
Yeah.
When the first time I went to Thailand, I loved it because of its authenticity. There wasn't your big brands, your big chains over there. Mm. The second time I went, and I'm going to mention the chains, not because I want to promote it or anything, but just because it's good. I think it's good for our listeners to know, and it will help to paint a picture. Mm-hmm. I saw a 7-Eleven, which is still in Asia, is still pretty prevalent. I know we don't see it much over here where we live in London. Yeah. And I saw McDonald's, and everywhere, like in Bangkok mainly, but everywhere when I went, and it was so bad that I remember seeing them across the road from each other, thinking they're literally 100 yards away from each other, and there's one, like, as in a 7-Eleven and a 7-Eleven. And it was just like, why have I come here? That's how I felt, and I shouldn't feel like that. I'm travelling halfway across the road for a new and different experience. I want to learn things. I want to see different things. Yeah. And seeing that, put it down on my holiday. Yeah. And I say that in that, over here, when you say about the big chains, big companies, it boils down to finances.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think a Tesco's, and I don't want to plug them, but it's just because Pog support them. Do you think a Tesco's is ever going to go bust in this country?
No, never.
Do you think a Tesco's? It's even.
But then saying that, we did have Safeways. Remember Safeways that turned into Morris?
Okay, yeah. So something will happen. It's just like which bank did the government bail out? I can't remember now. But
it might have been RBS.
Right. If you're a big institute, some kind of corporation in this country that the government is getting shitloads of money via taxes, via do you think it's in this country's interest to see them go bust?
Of course not.
So that's how you have to think about it. And the older I get, the more I want to support your independent stores. And I didn't realise it. When you're young, you don't think about the bigger vision, the bigger picture. Yeah. When your local, this new local Tesco's, your local Waitrose plug, your locals are now popping up. Yeah. So the average guy that has the newsagents that's been in your street corner for 20 years that you know as Mo or whatever his name is, he's disappearing. Yeah. And I didn't realise how important that was. But it's like where we live now, it doesn't have that. It scarcely had when I was growing up, but it doesn't have that town or village effect we say morning to everyone because you know them. Yeah. That's Mo that owns the butchers. That's such and such that owns the news. Yeah. No, that's Tesco's. Yeah. And they've got your butchers. They've got your news. They've got everything. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's quite sad. And the older I get, the more I will support. I'm from an Afro-Caribbean heritage, and even now, even when I think about takeaways and stuff, I try and support my own. Yeah. Like I like other foods, of course, but of course. I'll also think, should I go and should I go there to this big known Nando's say, or should I just go and pay that £1 extra and support them because I know it's hard work, it's grind, it's them by themselves, and I will do it now. I will go and do it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
What does whole food plant-based mean exactly? Can anyone answer?
Yeah, once I get my notes up.
Alright, while P's getting his notes up, because I already got mine prepared, on page 302, a guide basically details what it is, answers the question, and it states the plant-based diet, a healthier way to eat. Well, from a plant-based diet, a healthier way to eat. The authors define a plant-based diet as one that excludes animal products completely, but they make sure to note, if you find you cannot do a plant-based diet 100% of the time, then aim for 80%, 80-20. Any movement towards more plants and fewer animals products can improve your health. Did you want to add to that at all, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, if that was pretty much you. I mean,
yeah.
I think we've kind of discussed this, I think, with Laura, and I think we discussed this amongst ourselves, and I don't necessarily have, dare I say, a view on what necessarily plant-based actually means, but I mean, the notes I took from it is sometimes people have like a real religious kind of feel in regards to their diet and stuff like that, and there's no real flexibility. So obviously at this moment in time, I'm vegetarian. Obviously I would like to be vegan, but at this moment in time I have to accept that I am a vegetarian, and within the confines of being vegetarian, or certainly wanting to become vegan, M&M's are involved, Mr. Kipling's are involved.
I can see Mr. Kipling's over there.
And
Madeira cake.
And foods of that nature. But I mean, this is all in the transition to
listen, people, yeah? Let me tell you something. You want to catch P, yeah? Just hang about at one of his local supermarkets. I could even narrow down the aisle, okay? It'll be the sweets and confectionery aisle, or it's going to be your bakery aisle. Simple as that. You will not catch him on the nuts and gluten-free section.
And I think there's one or two other bits and pieces mentioned in there. Actually, sometimes people have like an all or nothing kind of syndrome in terms of in that either they're all in or they're all out. If that makes any sense. Like you don't necessarily have to. I think it's what you do on a kind of like day-to-day basis that obviously counts towards obviously how healthy you're going to be. Obviously, you can treat yourself from time to time in regards to, as it says here, I think this is a pepperoni pizza, which is not on the agenda for someone like myself. But we're talking about a Mr. Kipling and M&M's and stuff like that. Then you're fine. You've got no real problem with that. But what I would say actually, because there was an example here. I think he was talking about. He says from a nutrition standpoint, the reason I don't like the term vegetarian or vegan is that they're only defined by what you don't eat. When I used to speak on college campuses, I would meet vegans who appeared to be living off French fries and beer. Vegan technically, but not exactly health promoting. And what I will say is there was a time period where I was vegetarian. All right, well, I was vegetarian at the time, and my diet was waning in terms of it was moving left, right, and centre, and I was eating. What do you call it? I was definitely eating McDonald's fries. Yeah. And cheesy melts from McDonald's. I tell you right now, minimum 5 times out of the week.
Promoting the big brands again. But anyway.
No. But I'm being honest. It's about honesty. So 5 times out of the week. So over a 2-week period, I was definitely
5 times in a week.
I'm being honest. It was my go-to.
So you were seeking out McDonald's.
If I was on the way back from somewhere, on A40, you got McDonald's on A40 now.
They're everywhere.
So, everywhere. Well, there's tons of McDonald's on A40s, but I mean, like, boom, I was in there. Got them cheesy melts, got them large fries, $2.30 something, and that was good, mate. But yeah, I'm work in progress.
Okay.
French, what's your opinion? Well, you haven't given us a definition or breakdown of whole plant-based food.
I did. That's the first thing I done.
What did you do? No, you asked the question and we moved on.
No, I answered the question myself firstly.
What did you say?
Do you want me to read out the statement again?
Yeah, because I don't remember you reading it.
The authors define a plant-based diet as one that excludes animal products completely, but they make sure to note, if you find you cannot do a plant-based diet 100% of the time...
8%. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Again, fully prepared.
That Hennessy, boy.
Alright, moving on. Yeah. So, again, I think we touched on the topic slightly, but it's in regards to preparing yourself for healthier habits.
Yeah.
And this is on page 303. There's a concept in psychology called decision fatigue that marketers use to exploit consumers. Do you ever wonder why supermarkets stack the junk food at the checkout counter? And this is not a question, this is just a
statement.
And after wading through the 40,000 items in the average supermarket, we end up with less willpower to resist impulse purchases. Have any of you heard of the decision fatigue?
Not that term or term of reference or phrase, but I know about where to place products to make the most eye-catching and appealing to customers, especially when they're on offer. I know about all that, like marketing. It's like a marketing tool. So I know about that, but I haven't heard of. I don't know if that's an American phrase, but I've never heard of that actual phrase. But I know definitely about where to place products.
Yeah.
And brands will pay more as to where on the shelf their product is placed.
It's funny though, because I actually went to go do a bit of shopping for a holiday, and I was getting to the till, and there's a clothes shop or whatever, whatnot.
Yeah.
But I was getting to the till, then you saw all these like sweet products and although, and this is what it's referring to. You got the decision fatigue. So I didn't actually want anything in that aisle, but I found myself looking at things like, what could I possibly? If anything takes my eye, I am gonna buy it.
Do you notice it always tends to be relatively cheap as well?
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like a pound.
It's only a pound.
I know what you're talking about. So I know obviously the I don't want to say the brand is in the room in terms of the bag and so on and so forth. Yeah. I've definitely had that problem. In regards to like supermarkets though, I can't say I have those problems. I know you would believe otherwise with some of the stuff that I do buy, but some of the stuff that they put in them shelves don't really appeal to me unless you're talking about those big middle aisles like in the middle of the
I'm talking at the very end as you're getting to the checkpoint.
Nah man, them silly little chewing gums and all them.
Yeah, they all have chewing gums. Your one-off flakes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Chewing gum maybe, but any them other crap.
But certain supermarkets, those foods are actually the healthy foods. Like I'm not gonna start name dropping like P. Yeah. But certain I'd say they're the cheaper supermarkets actually do the healthier foods just before you
you're right,
pay
actually.
for it. If you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So
that's a funny one because I do actually buy this as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I find myself, but it's like it's almost like a positive way to end your shopping trip.
I know which one it is.
Yeah,
I know exactly which one.
There's a couple of them
on the self-service checkouts when you're going there.
There's who you.
I know which one exactly which one you're talking about.
But moving slightly onto
this Tennessee's good, boy.
Smooth, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's vegan. I'm telling myself it's vegan.
Yes, man, this is good.
But on page 310, it goes into Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. I'll read them out. This is basically what the author of the book, along with Gene Stone, they suggest this is what you should be having on a daily basis. 3 servings of beans, 1 serving of berries, 3 servings of other fruits, 1 serving of cruciferous vegetables, 1 serving of flax seeds, 1 serving of nuts, 1 serving of spices, 1 serving of whole grains. No, 3 servings of whole grains, 5 beverages, and 1 bout of exercise.
5 beverages, meaning what? Drinks water.
We'll get into that.
Okay, fine.
So starting off with the beans, I mean, we're not going to go into every single thing of his Daily Dozen, but we'll touch on some of the ones that I think was more prominent. So Dr. G, I'm going to call him Dr. G from here on forward. Dr. G's favourite beans include, but not sustaining too, black beans, black-eyed peas, butter beans, cannellini beans, chickpeas, and so on and so forth. You get the best of both worlds with beans, all while enjoying foods that are naturally low in saturated fat and sodium and free of cholesterol. A report by 21 top cancer researchers, one of the chief summary cancer prevention recommendations is to eat whole grains and legumes being beans, split peas, chickpeas or lentils with every meal. And further on from that, as I said, was going to go into a bit more with UP. Soya. Now, if you don't know, soya beans are probably the beans Americans are most comfortable with incorporating in their breakfast. Soya milk, for instance, has grown into $1 billion business. What do you think the cause and rise is down to in regards to soya being now $1 billion business?
That's a very good question.
$1 billion, that is incredible.
I do believe that. Though.
That is, it's incredible though.
I'm gonna go with maybe cost in regards to maybe harvesting it. Maybe it might be a silly one, but I have to put that there. That's all I can think of at this moment in time.
What about you?
What about you, French?
I was gonna answer, but
I can't speak specifically for soya, but I definitely know there's almost been this euphoric rise in promoting healthy eating, promoting soya-based products, promoting corn, these kind of things. There's even there's a famous. I like him, so I'm gonna plug him. Mo Farah, he does a corn-based advert. It's on a few. There's definitely been a rise in this kind of thing. I think that is all attributed to the rise in the soya-based foods, which is obviously seeing that industry just rocket into $1 billion industry. Apart from that, I can't think of anything.
I mean, it's funny because like as I was saying earlier, I had soya mint. I've been having a lot of soya mints over the past couple of days, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, how does soya turn into mints? I know that. I mean, it may sound like a stupid question.
Yeah.
I mean, I have read some bits and pieces, but obviously with the Hennessy, I'm struggling to break down, give you a proper answers. I have read it a little bit, but I mean, as to where the soya and mints, and where do the two marry up as such. But I mean, the only, as I mentioned before, the only answer I can really give at this moment in time is due to maybe cost, but at the same time, it's like black-eyed peas. I mean, can you imagine that being a milk?
Do you know what? Sorry, guys. I've got a question which is very, very loosely linked. Can you remember where all this healthy eating and soya and corn, where it all stemmed from? Because I know when I was 10, 11, this wasn't prevalent. It was hard to find, and I can't remember it. Can you even think where it's kind of stemmed from? And why it's kind of risen?
I mean, in regards to where is it stemmed from, I don't know. I think it's just...
We had a lot of scandals at one point with the horse meat. Before that, we had the pig... What was it? Something... It was something to do with pigs.
Yeah.
There was a breakout.
You had the mad cow disease.
Mad cow disease. We've had a few things. What's the one with the pig caught the cold in it?
I don't know.
There's been a lot of things around that, I know that. But where's it? It's just kind of...
I think it's global awareness. But again, I think it's part and parcel with what you were just saying in regards to the different diseases. And I think it's a global consciousness in terms of we genuinely want to be eating healthier. Like, I don't know if you... I mean, it's very widespread amongst the Afro and Caribbean communities, but you're getting a lot of people dying from these kind of these cancers and these kind of diseases. So when we start looking at it in a bit more detailed, we kind of think, okay, so what's the actual causes of these? And what we tend to be finding is our diet. So therefore, we're going to start looking at our diet, and therefore, again, the manufacturers are also, they've got their ears to the ground. They know what's going on. So if they can pick up a trend before it's actually a trend and make a buck out of it, that's why you're getting a soya business that's now $1 billion business, because they've heard from the underground. It's like, cool, well, we know this is sustainable food, it's cheap to make, let's market it in such a way that it's gonna have so many XYZ benefits that people are gonna not initially jump on a bandwagon, but as anything else, you say it enough times and people believe it. So, and that's not just discredit soya and say that it's unhealthy, but when you've got a powerful marketing tool, and what's a better marketing tool than actual results, when you're getting people that are actually coming off their meds because they're on a plant-based diet and they're having soya milk and they're having soya mints and things like that, that's going to make you, that's a word of mouth that's much more powerful, 10 times more powerful than seeing it being promoted on the billboard or hearing it on the radio or seeing it on the TV. When someone actually tells you directly, this product made me feel like this, you're going to go and buy it. You're not going to watch the TV and hear it because you'll be like, oh, it's just a TV. They're going to say that. When you know Billy from up the road that's lost 10 pounds from eating soya mint for the last month, you can be like, boy, I want some of what Billy's got. Yeah. So therefore, that's the way that I think it's been happening.
I'm not going to argue with you, boy.
Yeah, that was a very good answer. I would say, I mean, I know things come in fads and stuff like that, so I'm going to say, like, from, when did I start going gym? From 2001-ish kind of thing. I'm not saying necessarily everyone else started going gym from then. Everyone else started going gym from then. But I can only...
2000, how old are you? 2000...
This guy, you ain't older.
Oh God.
Yeah. Sorry. So like, see, from 2001, a lot of my group, dare I say, started going to the gym, obviously a little bit more kind of thing. And dare I say,
man's not part of your group. I never went to no gym.
Yeah, anyway, so a lot of people my age, that's what I meant. A lot of people my age started going to gym, obviously a bit also, we're a bit more health conscious and started going to gym a little bit more. Dare I say, 5-10 years later than that, obviously there's only so long before you're starting to think to yourself, what's next? I've been pumping these weights for God knows how long. I've been on this treadmill. I've been on this cross trainer, etc., etc. What else is going to get me to the next level, kind of thing? And obviously, there you go. Not there you go, but then obviously that brings about the introduction of diets and stuff like that. Not that diets have not always been a thing, but you know, then people start looking for the next best thing, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Now people are saying diet is the best way to. Like diet is 80% of your
You're training.
Yeah, you're training, and 20% of your. Anyway, you get my point.
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, if you want to revert it to going to the gym, as with a lot of things, I think it's information. If you don't have the information, you're going to be quite ignorant to it. Like a lot of people that go to the gym don't tend to stretch, but not knowing how important stretching is. Yeah. And for me, someone that's done I've done a sports therapy degree in university, and I know that how imperative that stretching is, and I'm someone that's actually studied it, but I still don't take it as serious as what I should do. But for those that haven't studied that degree, and they're not in the information circle where they can get that kind of direction in terms of having stretching as part of your routine, they're going to be totally unaware. Do you know what I mean? So again, it goes back to not necessarily ignorance, but just being unaware of certain information. Moving on slightly to lentils. On page 320, did you know lenses were actually named after lentils, as lens is lentil in Latin, for all you that didn't know. Lentils are so rich in prebiotics that they create a feast for your friendly flora, which in turn feed you right back with the beneficial compounds such as propionate that relax your stomach and slow the rate at which sugars are absorbed into your system. Mealtime options can include dishes like bean burritos, chili, pasta, red beans and rice, minestrone, Tuscan white bean stew, and black bean lentil or split pea soup. Now, clearing the air about beans. Has anyone experienced excessive flatulence from eating beans?
What's flatulence? Sorry, brother, but you need to break this down to layman's terms for me.
Farts. Gas.
I don't think I eat enough beans to have experienced the words you used. And that's the honest truth.
Okay, what about you?
I know. Hold on. I know that. Why do I feel gassy? That might just be my mother's cooking.
All right. Say that. What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I've had a lot of soy mints over the past couple of days, so I know what.
Go on.
Oh, so you talking about lentils?
I'm talking
beans. Beans.
Yeah, soya beans.
Okay, go on.
You said soya mints, but
go on.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're the same damn thing. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm going crazy. What's this guy?
He listed the beans he's talking about. But anyway, go on.
Okay. Alright. Have I experienced it? Yes, I have experienced it.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Okay. So it's noticeable then when you eat more beans, you can feel you definitely are letting.
Yeah, I mean, because more of
it's like a turbine.
You want to turn that way? I don't generally I don't generally have a lot of beans, but I mean, over the past 3-4 days, I've had a lot of soya mints, and in so, I have felt a bit gassy.
Okay. Me personally, I stopped eating a particular named beans.
Can you name it, please?
Heinz.
You said it.
So baked
beans, yeah.
I don't like baked beans.
I used to eat them all the time. They was part of the English breakfast fry up and all that stuff. I noticed since I've had to cut it out of my diet personally, and eggs, because they did make me flatulent and used to give me a lot of gas. So that's for me personally that I've definitely experienced it. But the reason why I brought that up was on page 323, the researchers concluded that people's concerns about excessive flatulence from eating beans may be exaggerated. Now, from a personal opinion, as I said, I don't agree.
Okay.
Moving on slightly though, on 325, legume consumption is associated with a slimmer waist and lower blood pressure, and randomized trials have shown it can match or beat out calorie cutting for slim tummy fat, as well as improving the regulation of blood sugar, insulin levels, and cholesterol. Do you think this should be used to help people who struggle with their weight?
That's a good point. And I think it lends to a wider argument within the book about the type of diet people are on, and the links to their weight, and then the links further associated to any diseases or kind of health problems they might have with their weight because of that. Does that all make sense? Sorry, I know I went about it in a convoluted way.
Yeah, somewhat.
So yes, I mean, I do think. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I don't. When they're prescribing these drugs, I don't know how much information they give out about your diet and what you can do with your diet, which would mean I do not have to prescribe these drugs for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can't. I don't know, but definitely, if I was a patient who had issues with my weight and because of that it linked to my health, I would want all the information. I wouldn't just want a prescription saying take 2 of these. Yeah. These will make you feel a little bit better.
There's one big drug lord passed it on to a small time drug. small time dealer just passed it on to me. I'm not listening to him no more. My soya beans in there. And my spinach.
As I was saying, yeah, I definitely, what this book's done for me is, it's just helped with awareness, and I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Give me the option. Let me make my own decision. If I still want to take those drugs that will make me feel better for 6 hours and I need 2 more after, that's on me. But give me the option. Make me aware.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I don't know how trained our medical services, teams, doctors, GPs are in this country, where they can speak about the importance of health and what you can eat in your diet to prevent you having to come back to get this prescription for these drugs.
But do you think that goes back to having a private care versus NHS care?
I've never had a private care, bro.
I know, but neither have I. So this is what my point is, because I find as I said, I've already had the experience of having an NHS doctor, but I would assume with a private doctor, it's a lot more fine-tuned to you personally, and they're not rushing you out the door to get the next person in to sign another prescription. Do you know what I mean? Because I find especially, I think we made a point in the first episode, the first part of the book, in regards to one of the questions was, do you trust what your doctor tells you? And a lot of people don't. I find, especially nowadays, because the doctors want to just sign a prescription and give it to you and keep it moving. They're not going to spend time to break down, this is the reason why I'm giving you these drugs, or if you don't choose to have these drugs, having these foods will have the same benefits as these drugs.
You know what? I've not had private care, and if I'm honest, that's something I've been actually thinking about for a long time. But haven't actually probably done enough research into it. But I would love to know actually what the exact difference is in regards to the NHS and also private care. Like, I mean, I'm not saying anyone on private care is going to be given information in terms of.
I think they will be.
That's what I think. I would like to believe they would do. Yeah, right? Because I think once you're paying
for it.
Yeah, once you're paying for it. I think you're going to get a totally different service, because if you don't like the service you're receiving, then you're going to walk away.
Similar to like public and private schools.
Exactly.
So I mean, I do believe that. I mean, I believe that's the type of service you would get. So I mean, obviously with the NHS, obviously because there's a huge and heavy load, and with the NHS, by and large, it's in and out kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Obviously with private care. So private healthcare, obviously they want you there longer, etc., etc. Particularly if you're passing on like good knowledge, then why wouldn't you stay there a little bit longer? But at the same time, you're going to be able to get screenings, this and that, and the third, in regards to any potential illnesses that you may potentially develop.
You kind of touched on the point I was going to raise. French would look at me crazy, but I was almost raising my hand like a kid in class. But you touched on the point in that, I mean, we all know the media, they exaggerate a lot of issues, but one of the things that we're probably all aware of is the struggle, the pressures on the NHS service. And you hit the nail on the head when you said about prescription out the door. We know that our doctors and nurses in this country are under a lot of pressure. We know that there's a lot of boundaries with finances in the NHS and so on and so forth. And I think because of that, you get that rushed kind of feel. I don't go, as I think I've mentioned in the previous podcast, unless I'm here, unless someone's stuck a knife in me and I'm walking to the doctor with the knife in me or the hospital, I'm not going. Literally, I'll have to pass out and someone have to drag me there. I don't go, and it's just because I'm just one of the people that's like that. Like, I just think if I can still walk, if I still talk, I will recover. I trust my body to recover. So, yeah. It is, but you're right, Fred.
I'm going to book an appointment tomorrow. No, it's Monday. No, it's weird because like I know, like I've got to book a dentist appointment every 3 and sometimes every 6 months. I know I was gonna walk in the other day, but I thought I might as well just wait until I get home.
Yeah.
And then make a phone call. I'm gonna book a doctor's appointment. In that I know how to do a dentist one. In that I know how to book a checkup, but I don't have to do one necessarily the doctor. I'm gonna go in and say I'm just here for a checkup. I'm saying, what are you here for?
We want proof.
Huh?
We want proof.
Of course, not a problem. That's fine. I've got no problem with that.
Oh gosh.
Another one of Dr. G's, what is it, the Daily Dozen.
Yeah.
So another one is berries.
And you moved on to my section now.
Alright.
Yeah.
So some of Dr. G's favourite berries are acai berries,
Toot.
barberries, blackberries, blueberries,
Toot.
cherries,
Put the toot.
Concord grapes, cranberries, goji berries,
The
etc.
tingles. Okay.
Greens are the healthiest vegetables and berries are the healthiest fruits, in part due to their respective plant pigments. Colourful foods are often healthier because they contain antioxidant pigments, whether it's the beta-carotene that makes carrot and sweet potatoes orange, the lycopene antioxidant pigment that makes tomatoes red, or the anthocyanin pigments that make blueberries blue. The colours are the antioxidants. It also mentions tart cherries when it mentions sweet research data back half a century suggests a tart cherry are so anti-inflammatory that they can be used to successfully treat a painful type of arthritis called gout. Since we're on berries, is there anything that you wanted to mention in regards to that, your favourite topic?
Just that generally speaking, I love the flavour of berries. And do you know what? At my place of work, someone made reference to the fact that berries are not a man's fruit. Yeah, and it was a female that made reference to these. No, sorry, a man made reference to this to a female in my office, that berries are not a man's fruit. I don't have business. I will come in with my blackberry, my mixed berries fruit.
Yeah.
What did I bring today to the studio? Strawberries, yes or no? And don't lie to the people. What's this? Strawberries. I love berries, and I know, and I don't know why. I think I've stumbled across something for the book that they're good antioxidant.
Yeah.
So I'm big into my berries, man, and yeah.
What about you, P?
I love berries.
Sweet. Say no more. Other fruits.
Rachel, Hallie.
Other fruits. Some of Dr. G's favourite other fruits include apples, dried apricots, avocados, bananas, mangoes, plums, lychees, etc. On page 334, if you like drinking your fruit, blending is better than juicing to preserve nutrition. Juicing removes more than just fibre. Most of the polyphenol phytonutrients in fruits and veg appear to be bound to the fibre and are only liberated for the absorption by the friendly flora in your gut. A group of Italian researchers found that citrulline supplementation at the level of 5 servings of red watermelon a day improved erection hardness in men with mild erectile dysfunction, allowing for 68% increase in monthly intercourse frequency. Man them. Yellow watermelon has 4 times more citrulline though, so just about 1 wedge a day has the same effect. If this information is new to you, perhaps it's because the advertising budgets of drug companies like Pfizer, which rake in billions of dollars each year from the sale of erectile dysfunction drugs, are about 1,000 times that of the entire budget of the National Watermelon Promotion Board, which makes me pose the question.
Yeah.
Do you think your current diet is swayed by food and drink companies or social awareness?
Ooh. Alright, let me rewind you a bit, because you hit some nice facts there, and you hit something about erectile dysfunction. I'm gonna post something on our Instagram in the next few days, because there's something in the book, and I loved it about erectile dysfunction, so I'm just gonna put that out. Do I think social awareness, or what was the other thing?
Do you think your current diet is swayed by food and drink companies or social awareness?
Social awareness.
It's not food and drinks companies. If you had asked me 15 years ago, I would have said 100%.
Yeah.
But nah, not now. I couldn't give a toss about food and drinks companies in my diet. It's definitely social awareness. I haven't got anything else to say on that point, to be honest. What about you, French?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say it's more social awareness. I still, again, going back to food and drink companies having a monopoly on what we see day to day, but I think I definitely think social media is playing a bigger part. We're becoming a lot more aware. Like people, like for ourselves, for example, like we post a lot of facts from the book on our Instagram, and you get a lot of people interacting.
Plug at full_e_booked.
You get a lot of people interacting with our posts. Random people saying how great the page is and liking it because it's providing them with certain information that they may not have been aware of. Do you know what I mean? So that is that social awareness. We're becoming more socially aware of what's healthier and what we should really be eating. So that for me is definitely where we are in this state. What about you, P? You saying social awareness? Can you even talk right now?
Guys, for the record, right? So
cheat day. Cheat day.
Alright, Parker came into the studio with 8 angel cake slices, yeah? And this is for like sharing amongst the podcast crew. Can I mention there's 2 left?
Are you? 5 left.
French, moving on.
Oh, maybe choke.
Cruciferous vegetables.
So you asked me a question.
I forgot, Pete. Go
on. He also came with a bottle of 2-litre water, which he's just opened.
Alright, he's not wrong there.
Go on.
Sorry, I had an answer for the question, but I forgot the question.
The question was, do you think your diet is down to social awareness or food?
I think it's definitely social, but what I was going to say is I think social media's got to be a huge nightmare, the biggest nightmare for any food and drink corporation. And now the little man or the little person has now found his or her voice and is now beginning to kind of exercise their voice as to spreading awareness and obviously spreading knowledge as to the benefits of eating healthy, but at the same time some of the drawbacks there are from eating some of these foods, I'm going to say, and for lack of a better term, from some of these big corporations. Dare I say, I know I've mentioned I've had a lot of French fries, not of late, but a few months ago I was eating a lot of French fries and cheesy melts, to which obviously didn't really contribute well towards my diet. But I think, social media plays a huge factor.
Okay. So you'll go with social awareness?
Yeah, 100%.